So, discussion board here, 517 discussion on basics of Thomas Aquinas' approach. Aquinas believes that his first principle of practical reason is self evidently true. Is it, in your opinion? Or what is that principle? That the good should be pursued and evil avoided? Something like that. Um, well, I mean, it is a first principle. And classically in philosophy, logic, if something is a first principle, it's certainly not something that can be proved. That is, the starting points or premises of an argument. I mean, some of them can be proved, but maybe some of them can't. And the idea is that if you try to prove everything, you'll just be involved in infinite regress. So you have to start somewhere. So the idea of a self-evident first principle is that we start with things that are true by what? That are self-evidently true, meaning they don't demand to be proved. We just, once we understand them, we also understand that they are true and that they must be true. For instance, the first principles of mathematics, logic. For something to be the first principle of practical reason is essentially the first principle of morality, of ethics, the very starting point. You can't dig any deeper than this, is what Thomas is saying. But does that mean that it's self-evidently true? That is, that it really doesn't need to be argued or really doesn't need to be proved. That's, to my mind, doubtful. There is no doubt in my mind that the principle that the good should be pursued and evil avoided is very, very compelling to me, I mean, and to everyone I've ever talked to. But whether it's self evidently true, um, well, I don't think I would ever ask anybody to prove it, but it doesn't mean that it shouldn't, that it couldn't be proved, that it's absolutely true without any kind of argument. I might have mentioned in the video that in a really twisted way in Paradise Lost, the great epic poem about Christianity or the fall of human beings, what used to be called the fall of man in the Bible. But Milton has Satan say something in a soliloquy, very interesting. Satan, the devil, says, "Evil, be thou my good," which is essentially saying, you know, the first principle for Satan in Paradise Lost, at least, is evil should be pursued and the good avoided. So he's able to say that. You know, that is, he's able to contradict Thomas's more orthodox, obviously, notion of what the first principle is. And maybe he can say that because he's Satan. A human being, rational human being, could never, perhaps, subscribe to that. So I don't know, really. I just think it's an interesting question. Whenever a philosopher offers a first principle that they say is self-evidently true, you really have to ask yourself: is it? And or at least do you believe it? And I suppose the ultimate criterion for that is whether you think that you could actually contradict it without falling into absurdities.